Hey you, this is Yasim from CodeBand and this is our fourth video of the Python automation series. And if you haven't watched those previous three videos, I highly recommend you to watch because I talk about the introduction to automation and most importantly the installation part, the installation of dependencies that we do require to do the automation stuff. So I highly recommend you to watch that. The links will be in the description section. Actually, I have put the whole link to the playlist so that you can just watch those three videos and come back in here. Now with that being said, in this video we'll be actually doing a super cool automation. Actually it's very simple, but as a beginner, or to be precise, we are going to be covering the basics of that, how things work when we actually do this automation. So we'll be actually talking about the project creation and those commands that you have to execute in order to work around. So with that being said, if you are new to my channel, please don't forget to subscribe my channel and click the bell icon near to it. So without any further, let's jump right into it. Alright guys, so I'm in my desktop. I need to create a new folder. Now that's a de facto standard. We need to create a project directory so that we can put those files inside that project file. So I'll just create a new folder and I'll maybe name it like Python Google Automation. And I'll just open that folder up. Inside that I'll create another folder and I'll name this as src, meaning source, which is nothing but the place where we keep our Python files. The code that we write will be inside this folder. So what I need to do next is I need to actually open my Visual Studio Code. So the editor I'm going to be using is VS Code, as I have mentioned in the installation video. So you can of course use any editors, maybe Sublime or Atom, whatever be. So in order to open this folder in VS Code, I have a couple of options. Like I can go to my terminal and type in code dot, but I'll not stick with that shortcut. Instead I'll do it the hard way. So what I'll do is I'll just take my Visual Studio Code here, and what I'll do is, first of all, I'll zoom these things out because otherwise you cannot see those things there. So what I'll do is I'll take File up at the taskbar. Then what I'll do is click Open here to open that folder. So we have Python Google Automation, and we need to actually open this src folder here, this folder. So I'll click Open and it will automatically open that folder, me, as you can see here. Now the next thing we'll be doing is creating a Python file. So it's very simple. You have this icon here, as you can see, this icon, and just click on that, and I'll name this as main.py. So you can of course name it as hello.py or automation.py, whatever be, that's up to you. So I'll stick with main.py. And now we need to actually write some code. So the thing we are going to be doing is Google search automation. So remember about the procedure that we usually go through when we want to search something. So first of all, I'll take my browser. So I'm using Chrome, so I'll be taking my Chrome browser. Then what I'll do is I'll open google.com maybe, or I'll search directly the search bar if that's possible. But for this case, what I'll do is I'll just open google.com, and then in that search bar we'll actually type in whatever the query is, and then we'll click that Google search button. That's the usual procedure. So let me show you what I meant by that. I'll just, first of all, the first step is to take a new Google Chrome. So I have opened that. Now for this case I'll open a guest window here. Now the second one, I'll go to google.com and it's loaded. Now the third thing, I'll just search whatever I want to search. So maybe I'll say like hello world. I'll search that. Now after typing in this one, what we'll do is we'll click on this Google search button. That's the usual procedure of searching something. So we will be actually automating the whole procedure, taking a browser, going to google.com, searching the query and clicking on this Google search button. The four things, and it seems like it's very simple, but you'll learn a lot because it's the basics of this automation stuff. So back into the VS Code, this one here. Back into the VS Code, what we are doing is, the first thing we want to do is, as we have installed Selenium, the Python package that is being used for this automation stuff. I have showed you that in the installation video. So we need to import something from Selenium, and that is nothing but what I'm going to write. So from Selenium, from that library, I want to import WebDriver. So we have also downloaded that WebDriver, the Chrome driver, in that installation video. I hope you remember that stuff. So we need to actually make a connection between our code and that WebDriver, that Chrome driver to be precise. So if you're using Chrome, that would be Chrome driver. If you're using Firefox, I'm not sure what it is. But I highly recommend using Chrome because then only you can follow exactly like me, right? So from Selenium, import WebDriver, and you don't have to be much, don't bother about this too much because it's pretty simple. We'll actually do write some cool stuffs after this one. So we imported that stuff. Now we need to make a browser variable. Now the name is up to you. You can use driver or browser. It's just a variable is equal to WebDriver. So whatever we imported from here, .chrome. So we are initializing a new Chrome tab. So I'm using, by the way, Chrome browser. Again, it's of course up to you. You can use Firefox. So in case of Firefox, you might be using like Firefox, or if you're using Safari, just like that. And in our case, Chrome is the one we are using. And the interesting part here is that we need to actually show that the path. So we have actually downloaded that Chrome driver in that installation video. So we need to, we also kept that in a particular folder. So if I go to Finder, then in my root home folder here, we have that Chrome driver folder. In that we have that executable. So we need to mention that path in here, this path to this Chrome initialization. So for that, if you're a Windows user, we have done that in local disk C in Chrome driver folder, and inside that we have this executable file, right? So what I will do is, as a Mac user, what you can do is Command I. So you'll get that info. Now in the var section, you can just copy this path here. So just Command C, and you can just paste that path in here. So it's not actually the correct path because it's just a folder that is being taken. We need to forward one more level up so that we can access that executable Chrome driver. The name is again the same as you have seen, Chrome driver. So this is for Mac users. Now for Windows users, it's like local disk C, and again in the Chrome driver folder, Chrome driver. So that would be the path. Now in order to fetch that path, you can just see that in the address bar. Just click on that, copy and paste it here, right? So that's what is the first step. We're connecting that WebDriver with this program. Now, with that being said, the next thing I have mentioned to you is we need to go to, we need to take the Chrome browser and we need to go to google.com, right? So for that, what we'll do is with this variable browser, this is now an instance of this Chrome class. So browser dot get, there is a method called get, which will actually open up the browser, and also it will navigate to whatever URL you want to navigate to. So here in this case, it will be like google.com. So https google.com. So this line of code, what it does is it'll take the Chrome browser and it will go to google.com. So if, with this being said, if I save that stuff there, and let me try running this program so you can see the output over there. Now in order to run the program, make sure that you are in the src I'm taking the terminal. In order to take terminal in VS Code, you can just drag up. So from here you can see this pointer, just drag up and you'll get the terminal. Otherwise you can also manually go into this terminal and you can do the stuff. So in here, in order to run Python main.py, now main.py is the file name, my file name, and if I say like that, there is an error, no module named Selenium. Now that's because for a Mac user you need to type in like python3 main.py. If you're a Windows user, this would absolutely work, but for a Mac user you need to say like python3 main.py. That's because otherwise it will select the Python 2, and in there I don't have that Selenium module, that's why. So Python 3 means Python version 3. So python3 main.py, if I click enter, and what do you know, it opened up that Chrome browser and it showed me it is being navigated to google.com, working perfectly fine. So congratulations, this is our first step into the automation. So now the next thing we have to do is we need to find this search bar and we need to search something, say for example hello world. So for that, first of all we need to fetch this select box here. That's the first and crucial step there. And remember one thing, all these things are just HTML, so not just HTML, the front end HTML, CSS and JavaScript. So this one is an input box, it's a type input. So what I meant by that, if you just double click, or I mean if you just, I'm sorry for that, so let me go back into google.com. Yeah, if you just right click over here and if you say like inspect here, this inspect, and then you can see something over the right side of the screen just like this one. Now let me actually make this separate so that you can see that much more in detail. So just like this one. So what we are doing is we need to find this this search bar here, this bar here. So what I meant by that is you can just come back to that console here. Maybe what I'll do is I think I have missed that, so I'll just integrate this because it's looking ugly otherwise. Yeah, I'm integrating at the bottom. Now what I meant by that is I need to target this search box. So for that I'll click on this icon here. As you can see, this icon, just click on that and select the element you want to target. So I want to fetch this search box, so I'll click on that, and what do you know, it gives me the code behind that displaying that search box, this code here. So what I'll do is I'll right click, edit as HTML, and I'll just copy that and back into my VS Code. I'll just paste that in because it's not looking zoomed over there. So what I'll do is we'll paste that stuff here so that I can see much more clearly. So this is the code behind that input search box. So we need to fetch that search box, right? And we need to input some hello world or the query we need to execute. So for that, so for fetching, we have a couple of methods. So there are a lot of methods. So if I go back into that browser there, and let me show you that in the Selenium Dock. So I'll go with Selenium Python, and in the docs you can see that. So where it is, yeah, this is the doc. By the way, I'll put those links in the description section so you can directly go to that. And in here, getting started, I mean in the left side you can see locating elements, right? This is locating elements. Just click on that, and here you can see a lot of methods. Find element by ID, name, path. Now the element actually means that the target element. In this case, in our Google case, it is that search box, right? So we need to target an element. So there are a couple of methods like ID, name, XPath, link test. We'll be actually dealing with the whole stuff in upcoming videos, but for now we'll be actually dealing with two of the steps. The second one, find element by name, and the find element by CSS selector. So let's actually I'll get back to VS Code so that you can see how that thing works in reality. So what I'll do is we'll just say like a variable search input, we are targeting that search box, is equal to this browser variable, this instance, browser instance, dot, then if you type in find, you can see that bunch of items that we have seen in the documentation. So what I'll do is I'll find element by name. Now the name, what it does is it is actually looking for this name attribute here. Now you can see that this is an input tag, so it has that name attribute. So we can just easily fetch this input box by saying find element by name and this name, this Q. So I can just pass in that Q. Now if we just say like this one, it will actually fetch that search input for me. So what I meant by that again is if I go back to google.com, it will fetch this search box. Now fetching alone is not enough. We need to send those data, send the query, send hello world. So we need to type that hello world, right? So for that, what we can do is back into VS Code, we can just say like search input dot send keys. Now send keys is a method which actually sends whatever we pass inside. So in this case, I want to search hello world, so I'll pass that into hello world. So this what it does is it will actually type that hello world for us, but it's not manual, it's automated. So with that being said, that's over. That step is over. We have typed the hello world. Now the next thing we can do is clicking this button, right? We need to click this Google search button. So for that, again, this is an element, so we need to first fetch that element and then we do click. So again, as usual, we'll just right click and we'll say inspect, and we'll get that element. So if you didn't get that, you can just go to this selector here, just click on that icon, and you can just click on this one. We are targeting this button, just click that, and you can see the code behind that. So as always, I'll copy that and paste it over here. Now it's because you can't see that in there, it's showing a little bit small, so we can just copy and paste that. So you can see that this is the code behind that Google search button. So in here again, if we look into that, you can see that name property there. You can of course target the same exact way, like you can say btnk and fetch that, but instead we'll use a different selector. Now I told you about in the Selenium docs, we have a lot of ways of finding elements. So in this time we'll look for this find element by CSS selector. So this is what we are going to be using to select that button. So for that, back into here, just like the above one, what we'll do is I'll say like the search button. So search underscore btn is equal to again that browser variable, browser dot. Now if we type in like this, find element by CSS selector, this time not the name but by the CSS selector. Now CSS selector, you might be familiar. CSS, we used to style the style sheets. So for example, if you want to fetch this this class, what we'll do in CSS is like we'll do a period here, a dot, then fetching this item. Similarly, if we have an ID, then we'll have that hash in front, and so on. Now if you want to target a p tag, then we'll say p. Otherwise, if you want to target input, then we'll say input. So in this case, we want to fetch this item, right? So it is an input tag, so we'll just say like input. Now just by saying input will not work because there are multiple input tags. So this one will actually fetch the first one, because there is find element by CSS, this singular one, as well as the find elements. I'm sorry for this one, it's showing all the time when we hover over that stuff. So there is find element as well as find elements, which means find elements would return all the matches. So it will return these two input in this case. Find element would only return one time, the first element that matches. So in this case, it will actually give you this input rather than this one. So we need to fetch this input, right? So the idea behind fetching that is you can, in CSS selector, you can specify in square brackets the type. So the type property or the type attribute. So what I meant by that is this stuff here. So type is equal to submit. So I want to target the input element with the attribute type being set to submit. So this is only applicable for this element, because only for this element, this 14th line. not for the 13th one, because there we cannot find like type equal to submit. So it will actually fetch this input button and this, I'm sorry, this search button, and now we can just say like we already fetched that button. Now we need to click that button. So for that I'll say like search button dot click. Now what this does is you'll just click that button. So with this being said, if I run my the Chrome again, the script again, Python 3 main.py. For Windows users, it's Python main.py. If I click enter, and what do you know, it gives me Google and it searches for hello world, and it's not giving me that sort of the clickable action. I mean, it doesn't click the Google search button. So let me quickly go in through the error. So it says element not interactable. Now that's because all the things. So if we look back into the application, so if I run that stuff, you know, these things happen very quickly, right? It just open the browser, go to google.com and quickly type in the hello world, and it will automatically click that one. All this happens in a second or so. So it's very quick, and that's why it cannot fetch this Google search button. So we need to provide some gap between these things, performing these things. So say for example, I need to wait for a second or two after going into google.com before actually sending that hello world, and also the same thing over here. After sending that hello world, I need to wait for a second or two before I actually fetch that button and click that button. So for that, what I can do is I'll import something, and that is import time. So with importing this time module, what I can do is I'll just say like, after going into google.com, I'll just say like time.sleep, which means just post the execution for the number of seconds that we provide. So I'll say like 2 seconds. Just wait for 2 seconds before actually proceeding with the other code. And also the same thing applies here. So I'll say like time.sleep and 2. You can of course name this 3 or 1. 1 might not work because it will not be loaded in that second. It's very little, by the way, so I'll stick with 2. So what it does is it will wait 2 seconds after executing this, after putting that hello world, and only after 2 seconds it will click that button. Now with this being saved, if I run this again, if I say Python 3 main.py, it actually is waiting for 2 seconds to print that hello world. Again it's waiting 2 seconds, and now what do you know, it just printed that stuff. So it's totally working fine, and this is what is our first automation. Very simple it seems to be, but it's very crucial, where we actually discussed the basics of how the things work, how we can actually automate this stuff. So I hope you understood, and let me give you a quick recap over this one. And again, we have a challenge at the end of this video, so don't skip over. We have a challenge. So before that, let me give you a quick overview. It's this line of code. First of all, we'll import those steps. Now we'll instantiate a new browser, and we'll just go to google.com, wait for 2 seconds, and then we'll fetch that element that has a name attribute of Q, which means that search box. Now we'll pass into that search box the hello world or whatever query you might have to search. Again, wait for 2 seconds, and then what we'll do is we'll fetch that search button there, and then we'll click that button. So that's all we are doing here. So this is all about this automation. Now I have a quick challenge for you, because learning happens when we actually do some projects. So I have prepared a kind of dummy project for you to practice, so that you'll get a thorough understanding on how these things work. So for that, I have created this one. So I'll put the link in the description section, so that you can just go through this link here up at the top and in the description section. And what you can do is here, just type in your name and just click on this submit button. So it's not manually you can just type in and submit. Don't do that in that way. Instead, what you can do is just automate this one. Just do a quick project. Just open a new project, create some directory and create that src, and just do what I did here. But instead of this queue, the thing might be different. You can just inspect that element and you can find that, and also you can just do the same exact submit button in the same way as I did here in here. So just go through it and you'll find it more interesting. Now remember one thing, if you manually type in this stuff and if I click submit, it says like don't manually submit the form. Now that's possible that I have done that in that manner because automation is what I'm expecting from you, because projects would actually make you more comfortable with doing these things. So this is that project I have created for you just to show you how this thing works. So I'll just quickly say like python main.py and I'm sorry, just python 3 main.py, and it will actually pop up that window here, and you can see it's showed me my name, instead it showed you hello. And what do you know, it gives you congratulations. Please mention the below random string in the comment section of the video. So what you can do is instead of that hello, just paste in your name and it'll give you a random string here. Just copy that and put it in the comments below so that I can see how people react to this, and you completed this challenge successfully. So give it a try, because as always you should do projects to actually grasp the things behind this code. So with that being said, this is actually the end of the video, and I hope you liked the video. And remember, if you have any doubts or any errors, please let me know in the comment section, because you know, this is the basics and you should be aware of the things that's going around behind the scenes. So feel free to comment if you have any. So if you like the video, don't forget to hit the like button and don't forget to share to your connections as well. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, please do subscribe my channel and click the bell icon near to it. So with that being said, thank you for watching. We'll see you in the very next super cool automation.